What I believe is that the way to change a bad habit is to put a good habit in its place. You have this habit of believing I'm not worthy. You can replace the habit by saying it's my responsibility. Stop trying to change this habit and that habit and this habit, but follow a path, follow a plan. You'll start to notice momentum because you'll be in the daily commitment of something that has been designed and laid out before you. Spirituality and even personal growth practices are a habit. We have to undo old habits to reclaim new habits. But it's in the practice of the new habits that the old habits become undone. Let's pull a card. All right, well, I just actually landed on a card that was just face forward. My ability to receive is measured by how much I practice good feeling thoughts. My ability to receive is measured by how much I practice good feeling thoughts. Now, my friends, this is a card that could not be more appropriate for the times that we are living in. My ability to receive, and it has little dragonflies all over the place and beautiful pink clouds. And this is from the Super Attractor deck. My ability to receive is measured by how much I practice good feeling thoughts. Can I be honest with you guys? I don't think I've ever seen this card. I don't think I've ever pulled it. I've seen it when we made the deck, but I'd never pulled it. So it's been a while. And sometimes there's so many cards, they leave my mind. I don't know how to find them again. They find me again. So there we are. My ability to receive is measured by how much I practice good feeling thoughts. So let's make that a theme for ourselves today. Let's bring that into our conversation today. Let's elevate our thoughts and our words and our actions through this intention of coming together here on Dear Gabby today. Let us place our right hand on our heart and your left hand on your belly. Give yourself a moment to yawn, to shake out, to roll your shoulders, eyes closed, and just take a deep breath in and release. Taking another deep breath in and let that go. Honoring all the energy that is moving through you now, honoring all that's coming up for you today, giving yourself that love and respect and commitment to this time we have together here on Dear Gabby. This time we have together as we devote to our spiritual practice, our personal growth, and all that we've come here for. We welcome a miracle. We welcome new ideas. We welcome positive thoughts, good feeling emotions, and a new perspective. We accept that in this time together, we can have a quantum shift. Take that in and breathe that in. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Hey, hey, hey. Beautiful. Welcome back to Dear Gabby. So you're feeling stuck in old habits. Okay. And let's see who else out there is understanding, who has the same experience. I'm seeing some high fives. Throw us some high fives if you guys are feeling stuck in some old habits as well, because some people are saying, same girl. Yes, a lot of people are saying that they are feeling stuck in old habits. So here's the deal with old habits that we feel are interfering with the flow of our next right action. Often what I believe is that the way to change a bad habit is to put a good habit in its place. So, for instance, if you have a negative fear-based thought that you consistently keep thinking, when you notice that thought, say a prayer instead. A prayer could just be something as simple as, okay, thank you, universe, for transforming this fear. And you could do that all day long. If you have the habit of picking up a drink and drinking and drinking and drinking, it's just like in the 12 steps. The better habit would be to don't drink, go to a meeting and call your sponsor, right? So it's putting a new habit in the place of the old habit consistently. And with a level of commitment and conviction. So the same goes for the way our eating habits. You may be eating too much sugar, and so instead of the sugar, what are you going to replace that with? Now, this process doesn't necessarily address the root cause condition of why you're using that bad habit in the first place. But what it does do is it gets you out of the cycle. And sometimes we can't actually address the root cause of the issue until we actually get ourselves out of the negative cycle in the first place. So the same thing goes with alcoholism or drug addiction or anything like that. When we're in our using behavior, we can't actually do the spiritual work to truly heal. So I want to just start today by giving you the suggestion of putting something in place of the bad habit. So replacing the bad habit with something different. And that doesn't mean that if you fall down the bad habit that you've done anything wrong. Just quickly come back. Okay? And get more and more into that regular pattern of undoing the habit with replacing it with a new one. So I'm not even going to ask you to tell us your habits. I can leave that for you privately, but I want you to think about it today and all of you that are watching, when you end this session with me today for Dear Gabby, I want you to think about, what is the bad habit that I want to replace? What is it that I want to heal and change? What can I replace it with? And make the commitment that you'll replace it with that at least once today. And then tomorrow, make the commitment that you will replace the bad habit at least twice. And then the next day, carry on and carry on and carry on. Okay? You may even want to commit to 40 days of putting the new habit in front of the old habit. Okay? Let's keep it simple. Okay? It will work. And you have a lot of enthusiasm and you have so much faith and you're hooked up, baby. You're hooked up. You're all over the place with your new habits. Okay. So this is an interesting concept, because I think a lot of people that have come to my work, and I'm sure other spiritual teachers or self-help people, come often because they want to be told what to do. The idea that we just have to figure it out and navigate our personal growth journey with no direction or no guidance is like nutbags, right? It's nutty. So that's why I think that the books that I've written that have been so well received often are like the 40 Days, May Cause Miracles 40-day guidebook, or just giving yourselves the practices to just say, okay, I'm going to do chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Judgment detox works so well because it tells people what to do. So I think that the one thing you could do is potentially feel into and get aligned with what, if there's a method that's a method of mine or a method of another teacher that you follow that you think feels or looks or resonates at this moment, and commit to that method or that day by day path or whatever it is. Make the devotional commitment to that and let somebody else be your guide. So you can step back and you can allow your higher power, your spirit guides, your angels to work through that process, that practitioner, that method, whatever it may be, and stop trying to change this habit and that habit and this habit, but follow a path, follow a plan. And even if you do that for, a 2-week period or whatever it is, you'll start to notice momentum because you'll be in the daily commitment of something that has been designed and laid out before you. And that's why these daily practices often are so successful, because it gets people out of the habit of just jumping in and jumping out and jumping in and jumping out. And it puts you in the daily habit of following a path that has been laid out with expertise and elements of awareness of how each day will build upon the next. So I would say just open up and pray for the guidance to the method that feels resonant for you, and commit to that method for a 2-week period or a month-long period, a 40 period. And then after that experience, you can decide, oh, I like that, or no, I didn't like that. But I would really commit to it fully and completely and just witness the miracles. Yeah, and I think this is a great time of year to make those kinds of commitments. And that's why I do a 21-day challenge in January, because I know everyone's sort of like, holy crap, that year was crazy. I want to start fresh. I want to take advantage of that momentum in the new year. I want to be told what to do. I want to be, right? So whatever pathway feels resonant for you at this time, take that journey, commit to it, let somebody else tell you what to do. Stop trying to figure it out on your own and stop trying to, dabble. Because sometimes if we say, okay, I'm going to do that diet, or I'm going to do that exercise routine, or I'm going to do that challenge, or I'm going to do that book practice, and we commit to it, it can be easier because there is a guide saying step by step what to do. Sure. Yeah, I understand. But good for you. You start. It's amazing. You have a desire to be better, to feel better, to just great. So you have this habit of believing I'm not worthy. You can replace the habit by saying it's my responsibility. Exactly. I think that getting in the inquiry of what if I don't do this? What are the stakes then? The stakes are much higher if you don't do it than if you do. And I really hope that in the fall, we're going to reignite the Spirit Junkie Masterclass. I made it for you. So just stay in my world, and I'll be informing you about that. But I made it for you. You are exactly who I made it for. You'll hear about it, and if it's right for you, you'll do it. And if it's not me, it's somebody else. But that don't keep educating yourself and keep finding your teachers and keep letting yourself go further into the responsibility of what it means to show up for yourself. Because when you show up for yourself, what happens is you start to feel better. And then as you start to feel better, there's this inner whisper that's like, you got to share this. And that's God's work. That's what we're here for. We're here for personal transformation so that we can be an expression of that truth so that we can heal others. That's what we're all here for. So live your purpose, baby. It's far riskier not to. It's my mission to really help you recognize that the more you give over and the more you allow and the more you trust in the presence of that spiritual connection that's a faith of your own, the more habitual that becomes. And spirituality and even personal growth practices are a habit. We have to undo old habits to reclaim new habits. But it's in the practice of the new habits that the old habits become undone. So that's what we're going to go through today. Someone's saying, I choose not to drink alcohol right now. I mean, that's a big one to surrender. So that would be a great example for whoever that person is to really give yourself the chance to give it over. And rather than hold on to the need to control it, because it's in the controlling that we actually create more chaos. Okay, here's the deal. We are more comfortable being uncomfortable than we are being happy. So when things are good and when we start to get a sense of feeling good, our ego, the voice of fear within us, starts to say, hell no. Too good to be true. And it will find these weird little corners to pick up problems. We have a fault-finding mindset rather than a solution, happiness-oriented mindset. So when that happens, the next time you notice that you're feeling good and all is well, and all of a sudden you're like, but I wasn't nice enough to that person, or my coworkers aren't in a good place, or I didn't do that right, I want you to speak back to that voice. I want you to say, thank you for sharing, but I choose happiness instead. Thank you for sharing, but I don't believe that voice anymore. Thank you for sharing, but I'm choosing this moment. Give yourself permission in the moment to speak back to the fault-finding voice and start to claim the greatness of who you are. That is a pattern because you've lived your life in a habitual pattern of seeking problems and finding fault. Now we have to redirect and create a new habit and pattern of grounding you in the truth of who you are, which is happiness, joy, peace, and grace, sharing that happiness, joy, and peace with so much grace. That's what you're here for. So look, everyone has unresolved areas where they are out of alignment due to their upbringing, their belief systems from childhood, experiential belief systems, whatever has been imprinted. So some people might be health, some people it might be sex, some people it might be money, some people it might be their worth, some people might be all of the above, whatever. We've all got it. We've all got an area or many where we are misaligned with the feeling of love and abundance and grace. That's normal. That's natural. That's where it's at. And just because you fall into those belief systems and feel into that frequency from time to time doesn't mean that you are doing anything wrong. It's that your awareness of it is actually major. Okay. So the undoing of the lack mentality is a journey of clearing the belief systems from a experiential time in your life, right? That happens once again through books like The Universe Has Your Back. So fantastic that you're doing that. Transform fear to faith. Excellent work. It comes through therapeutic practices like we've been talking about today. It comes through mental reconditioning. And here's the good news. We all have these conditioned neural pathways from the experiences that we've had as children, particularly young childhood experiences. But the good news is, thanks to neural plasticity, our brain actually can change. Our brain can reorganize. Our brain can become new. Our fight-flight responses can subside. Our PTSD can dissolve. Our lack mentality can turn into an abundance mentality. Our brain has the power to change. And so much of that change happens with the repetition of new behavior. So one thing that you can do simply in this moment is to notice when you are in that lack mentality. Notice how it makes you feel. Forgive the thought and choose again. And this is a method I've shared over and over and over again on this show, the choose again method. Because yes, I could say to all of you, go do 10 years of therapy, which everyone I hope will have the opportunity to do, whatever that form that comes. But what you can do for yourself, you're here for self-help. You're here for Gabby to tell me how I can serve myself. You can be in the proactive development of new thought patterns that feel better. Not thought patterns that you don't believe in, but thought patterns that make you feel better. So when you notice that lack story show up, step 1, notice the thought and how it makes you feel. Step 2, forgive yourself for having the thought. It's very simple. There's my childhood story. There's my parents' lack story again. There it is again. All right, I forgive myself. It just showed up again, because that forgiveness will dissolve that guilt and tension and fear that you're manifesting it, all that crap, right? Third step, choose the next best feeling thought. Your willingness to face this lack mentality is already activating abundance within you. Right. And especially if you're feeling afraid that you're manifesting things because you're having the thoughts, then just forgive the thoughts, or forgive yourself for having the thought. Because the moment that you say, I forgive myself for that thought, or I forgive that thought, it doesn't have power over you anymore, because you've recognized, I am not that thought. It's just a thought that I keep thinking. I am not that belief. It's just a thought that I keep thinking. I want to actually acknowledge that letting go of control is an achievement, because when we are in a chronic state of trying to control our life circumstances, it's really a chronic state of trying to feel safe. We use these mechanisms of trying to keep our world in this package, in this path, in this plan, and we control ourselves, our lives, other people, our circumstances, our timelines, our manifestations, our health, whatever it may be, as a false sense of safety. Because when we actually fully surrender, like we've been talking about today, and we start to trust in a plan beyond our own, and we start to allow and be in the acceptance of what is, and we start to lead from a place and live from a place of inspiration rather than the manipulation, that's when we realize that that is the greatest source of safety. But in this worldly experience that we're having, we have it all backwards. Our fear of being unsafe, which is a common theme throughout the lives of most individuals, given the fact that even the slightest thing in our childhood could establish a belief system of not being safe, right? Even with you were mentioning some people saying that your last name the wrong way made you feel an insecurity, a sense of I'm not good enough and therefore I'm not safe. And so we find all these different coping mechanisms, and controlling our life is one of the biggest ones. And truly most coping mechanisms mechanisms are really just a form of control. Even addiction is another form of trying to be in control of our feelings, our emotions. Even even if it's like a positive habit, it can still be another way that we're trying to control. And so the answer truly as how do we release that control is in my world, releasing the need to control has to be replaced with something else, because we can't just take, if you think that form of controlling is how you stay safe, you can't just sort of take off the life jacket. So you need to put something in its place slowly and comfortably, because you don't want to just, blast yourself with a new behavior. And so what does it look like to slowly and comfortably begin to release the grip? Well, some of it could be something as subtle as taking one area of your life and starting to just adjust your behavioral patterns a little bit, right? So if you've been super controlling with what you eat, start to just subtly make some adjustments. Or if you've been trying to control a relationship, start to make subtle adjustments. And so those subtle shifts in your behavior start to add up and can actually become a new pattern and a new behavioral experience. But then the other bit here is if you're going to take away the safety net, what are you going to put in its place to feel safe enough? And that sense of safety has to come from a deep inner experience. And the only way that we can really let go of our coping mechanisms is to start to garner that sense of safety within ourselves. And so how does that come in? Okay. We can start to begin to establish a new baseline for safety through, first and foremost, really understanding our nervous system. And so when you are in a place of the sympathetic fight flight response, or you're getting all that rush of cortisol and you're feeling that anxiety, become the witness of it. Start to notice when you're in that place, because in that place, that's when you want to control, right? When you're relaxed and you've got your, chill moment, you're not trying to control things. You're just letting things be, right? When you're on a beach or whatever it is, whatever your moment of relaxation is. So start to notice when you're in that place of that sympathetic arousal. And in those moments, do something in place of the need to control. So what could you do instead? You could breathe in for 3 strokes and out for 8, right? So if it's in 2, 3, out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that quick in-breath and that longer out-breath actually starts to regulate your nervous system. And so something as simple as that, noticing that you're in that sympathetic state, doing something like a breath pattern where you breathe in with a quicker in-breath and a long exhale can just start to regulate your nervous system. And that simple act of breath actually starts to calm you down, and it sends a message to your brain, I'm safe in this moment. And then that energetic sense of safety makes it so that you don't have to do that thing that makes you try to control, or doesn't make you think that thought that's trying to be in control. It's allowing you to say to yourself proactively, I'm safe in this moment. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.